people. This is your boy Dedrian Colon from House of Wrestling, and this is my AEW Rampage and WWE Smackdown review for January 21st, 2022. Yes, I had to look at my notes. Man, it's a lot of wrestling. You can't just remember it by memory and shit like that. Like, you gotta take notes. Everyone takes notes. There's a lot of stuff going on. But nonetheless, this was a pretty cool night of professional wrestling. WWE was really good. Rampage was really cool. But I'm going to switch it up. Usually I'd go in order of how they were broadcast. That's going to change tonight. I'm going to start with AEW Rampage. It started off with Moxley and Ethan Page. That was pretty dope. A really good match. Moxley, ever since he's come back, he looks really, really good in the ring. He's a lot quicker. His moves have a lot more pop to them, and man, he looks really good. And he shout out to Ethan Page, man. He did really good in this match. He did not tap. He passed out. So that's ongoing there. But the big moment, and this is the talk of pro wrestling tonight, is as Moxley was leaving ringside and went through the crowd, there was this gentleman with a white shirt and joggers just looking at him. And lo and behold, it was Bryan Danielson. Ooh-wee. And they have this stare down for a couple minutes and stuff like that. That was so cool. Crowd ate it up. Social media ate it up. And it's like, oh, so that's Jon Moxley's next feud. And that's Bryan Danielson's next feud. Oh, okay. Things are getting interesting. That was a cool moment. Good transition. I mean, I commend AEW for what they're trying to do on Rampage. It's a lot more excitement. What I'm noticing about Rampage, especially tonight, was that there was just an energy there. That there was more energy on tonight's Rampage than there was in the previous 2 to 3 Dynamites. Like, it was just something about it. Maybe it's because it was live. Hint, hint, they maybe should do more live Rampages. It's pretty cool. The other cool thing was Jurassic Park. I know other people have said that about them. Jurassic, it's synonymous, Jurassic Park, but it was Jurassic Express. Really good promo by Jungle Boy. He is really grown. There's a lot of people in AEW who were so and kind of like, you could tell they were, I wouldn't say not comfortable, but just anxious of doing their promos. And now a lot of those young talents are starting to get comfortable with doing promos. There's a really good promo. So look forward to, man, who are they talking to? I can't remember because I was texting and everything. That's what happens when you live tweet during Dynamite and all these shows. You kind of skip up. But yeah, it was, I was listening to what he said, but he sounded really good. The delivery was good. See where it goes from there. They got a long list of challengers. I think, and this is off topic of AEW Rampage, I honestly think they might lose the titles to the House of Black. And could that be a heel turn for Luchasaurus, the Black Serpent? There you go. But then after that, man, this dude keeps impressing. And man, this crowd just loves this dude. And I'm talking about Hook. Man's a beast. Before they even went to the match. So the excuse me. The second match was Nick Jackson and Trent Beretta, which I kind of think went a little bit too long. Could have took some, I don't know. Now looking back on it, it went perfectly. But at the time, while that match was going, it's like, man, this kind of going too long. It's like, come on, it's like, man, this is too long. But now that I think about it, with Anna Jay and Jade Cargill main eventing, kind of makes sense because there were some moments in that match, and I know I'm kind of jumping the gun, but there were some certain moments in that match where they were rushing it, and then they were kind of uneasy, but they did a pretty good job for their main event. But yeah, Hook from that, the moment the Nick Jackson Trent Beretta match finished, they were just chanting hook, 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 hook. And as soon as they come back from commercial, his music plays by Action Bronson. That dude, I gotta say, I haven't seen someone. I know they talk about Goldberg with Jade Cargill, but Hook has got. There's a Goldberg type build that they're doing with Hook, because it was the same. I lived it when Goldberg, came on the scene, and then it just started building. It's got similarities, man. Hook and Goldberg, that push got similarities, man. When that dude wins the big one, that crowd is gonna be over, and man, they got some. This is gonna be good, but yeah, he wound up. What was cool was that he was facing Serpentico, and if you're not familiar with Serpentico, you can watch AEW Dark and Dark Elevation. He's always teaming with Luther, and his gimmick is that when he comes out, he shoots these webs almost like Spider-Man, and Hook just attacked him and just started putting him in holds while the springs were in the shooting out and everything, and he didn't even take his jacket off or his costume and everything, and Hook tapped him out, put him in that hole, tapped out, Hook left, and then QT Marshall starts egging on Hook. Like, oh, you're sloppy, oh, you're this, and Hook just suplexed him and walked right over him. Like Allen Iverson did the Tyronn Lue in the 2001 finals. That was nasty, but yeah, Hook. You know what? I think it's AEW with Rampage. I think they're starting to find their groove with the younger talent on that show. The young talent that's over. Hook, that it seems like Rampage and Hook. Rampage is Hook's show. That's where he's gonna be. So man, the moment he's on Dynamite, one match, ooh man, that's gonna be cool. And what's cool is that they keep Hook off of Dynamite, so he's an attraction on Rampage. So hey, for a 2-year-old company, they're still figuring things out, but that's pretty dope that they're starting to do that. That you're starting to see the separation. Although I do wish they would have more African Americans in the title picture and winning titles, but we'll see that. It's 2022. It's early on in 2022, so hopefully that happens. There are a few free agents that could possibly show up on Dynamite, which that would be awesome. And last but not least, the Jade Cargill and a Jade match, like I mentioned before, there was a certain spots where it was kind of clunky. You could tell that they were going too fast, then some moments they were going too slow. But nonetheless, man, these women really did a good job. They've grown. Anna Jay has tremendously grown as a talent in wrestling. And I think she's only been wrestling for a year and a half almost. But man, I think she's been longer. I think she's been a year and a half in AEW. But no, she's done really good job, really improved. Jade Cargill, really good. I wish she kind of would have stayed a little bit longer selling, but I mean, she's good. And what came to my mind when I'm watching the match, and I'm like, man, she's like the female version of Scott Steiner, except she knows how to. She doesn't have those wacky promos where she don't count or anything, but she has that intensity, which is really cool. That women's division is going to be really good. Hopefully they add a little bit more matches. Like I said on the AEW Dynamite review, you could check that out this past week, that I wish they would add more women to the factions, so that way you can have what you had on Wednesday with the intergender, the mixed tag matches where you had Adam Cole and Britt Baker and Chris Statlander and Orange Cassidy. And that way it mixes it up, but also it gives more women opportunities, and you actually build a story around the women. So you give people a reason to watch them. So hopefully they start doing that more, because they're starting to get a lot more depth to the women's division. Hopefully Maria Sharnoff, hopefully I pronounced that name. I know they seen there was like a graphic, a T-shirt or something from Pro Wrestling Tees with AEW on there. So hopefully they signed her because she's solid. She was in NXT. She's a really solid wrestler. But man, this was a really good main event for Rampage. I look forward to more matches. Jade Cargill's gonna have. Whoever beats Jade Cargill, they're gonna be a made person. And by Jade Cargill, when that moment comes, and it's not gonna come soon, it's probably gonna come in one of the Battle of the Belt specials. So let's see, they had it in January, February, March. Let's see, January, February, March, April. So they might have it in April or something like that, the next Battle of the Belts. It could be then that she drops the title, or it could be at Double or Nothing in Vegas. So we'll see what happens. But man, that was a really cool AEW Rampage. Crowd was electric. The only issue that I had was that kind of felt that the Trent Beretta Nick Jackson match went a little bit too long. It was kind of but again, with that match, it was an impromptu match because Rocky Romero, he tweeted that he tested positive for COVID. Hopefully Rocky Romero, he gets healthy quickly and overcomes that, has no side effects or anything like that. So I could see that was the only kind of issue that I had, but other than that, it was a fun show. I liked it. I look forward to what's going to happen with Moxley and Daniel Bryanson. Man, I keep messing it up. Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson. There you go. And I'm not the only one that made a mistake about that. But yeah, I look forward to what's going to happen with Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson, where that's going to go, how it's going to unfold. Is it going to unfold on Dynamite? How is it going to do it at Beach Break? Is it going to unfold next Rampage? This is actually probably the first big storyline or angle to develop on Rampage, which that's cool because now you have a reason for people to tune in. Like, ooh, Moxley and Daniel Bryan, okay. So hopefully they keep doing that because AEW is loaded with talent. You got to use it wisely. Tony Khan, put the people around you that's going to help you be more creative and not repetitive in your creativity and everything, because you got a lot of talent. He's done a lot of good things in the last 2 years, but you got room for improvement. Pretty much, you know that you got to do that, but just execute and look forward to how this is going to unfold with AEW in 2022. But moving along, Smackdown was pretty cool. The opening segment was really cool. You had the Bloodline, Roman Reigns, the Usos. They come out. Seth Rollins comes out. And it was really cool because he gave a shout out to Moxley. And he actually said Mox. He's like, me, Mox, and yourself, we've grown. Pretty much paraphrasing. And it was really cool. It was another reference that Pat McAfee mentioned. Actually, it was Pat McAfee said Mox, Seth Rollins, and Roman, they all, matured and everything. But that was pretty cool that they shout out Jon Moxley, considering, he's come back, returned from rehab and everything. So that was a really cool moment. But yeah, the Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins feud, me personally, I wish they don't rush this for Rumble. I really do wish this was the WrestleMania match because there's so much history and there's so much intricate parts that you can add to it. But then again, it might be Roman and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Who knows how that's going to play out. But no, that opening segment was pretty cool. Kofi Kingston had a match with Madcap Moss and Baron Corbin. Oh, God, those guys are so annoying. Not the wrestlers, but how the storyline that they're putting them in and the characters that they've given them to portray is so annoying. And it's not entertaining, and those jokes are terrible. So Kofi Kingston comes out, he points, Big E's there. So they do on commentary, I do commend Michael Cole and Pat McAfee explaining hey, it's Royal Rumble season, so you're going to see a lot of guys appearing on both shows, which is okay, but you kind of been doing this since the WWE draft in October. So pretty much it's kind of like you can get a sense that they might be considering ending the brand split, which is all right. See how that works out. But yeah, Big E came out. The only issue is like he came out to help Kofi, which is cool, but they have Kofi in kind of like the mid card and not like the top of the mid card, but like kind of like bottom of the mid card. And it's like, so Kofi, like Big E just lost the match. He lost the title. He lost, trying to get back in the match, and now he's back in the mid card. So it's, I don't know. There's a lot of, hopefully he wins the Royal Rumble. It's the hope. We hope that he wins the Royal Rumble and he gets his match at WrestleMania, which it's like a 50-50 chance, but we'll see how that plays out next Saturday. You did have, you had the return and a few appearances. You had Summer Rae, who they refer to as a WB legend, which is kind of crazy because she was just there like 3 years ago, almost. I don't know how that works. You had Jeff Jarrett in a backstage segment with Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs, which is interesting because Jeff Jarrett's going to be on the GCW show this Sunday at the Hammerstein Ballroom fighting against Effie. So that was a pretty cool thing. You had Kid Rock in the crowd. All right. But then you had Eric Bischoff in a backstage segment with Adam Pearce, which was pretty interesting because then that came after the Charlotte Naomi match in which Sonya Deville changed the rules and became the ref, and Naomi wound up losing. And when she came back, Adam Pearce was like, well, you know what's going to happen? We're going to have you versus Naomi. And we'll see if that happens. But this storyline is so... It's so weird. It's so weird, and it's to the point where it's like overstayed its welcome, where you just want it to be over. And at the same time, it's had such racial overtones. Like, it's similar to the Booker T Triple H storyline, only for the women's division, because it's Sonya Deville is very condescending, and it's coming across very racist. And that's what, it's not entertaining. And unfortunately, the people in creative don't think so. And by people in creative, a McMahon or a Pritchard. We'll see how that works. So yeah, that's what happened. So they're fighting next Friday on SmackDown. We'll see if that happens or if it translates into something. I think it might translate into or correlate into, I actually tweeted this. What I think might happen is Stephanie McMahon might show up and tell her, you two are going to be in the Royal Rumble, and something like that. I don't know. She's probably going to strip Sonya Deville of her duties and put her in the Royal Rumble, and Naomi's going to be in the Royal Rumble, which is probably going to be a WrestleMania match for so long. And then at the end, you had the Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens versus the Usos. And the stipulation was if the Usos win, then Seth Rollins loses his title match against Roman Reigns. And if the Seth Rollins wins, the Usos are barred from ringside for Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns world title match. And this was a really solid match. The crowd was into it. Man, Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens have really good chemistry as a tag team. The Usos, like always, doing their thing. And Seth Rollins almost pulled out that victory. And the reason why I say almost is because he did the curb stomp, was about to pin him. And lo and behold, Roman Reigns comes in, Superman punches him, walks out. And the Usos get the DQ, which now the Usos are barred from ringside for the heavyweight title match, which is interesting because it's kind of, it makes you wonder, like, man, why did Roman don't you want your cousins to help you in the match? Like, why did you just cost them the match So now they're not at ringside. Unless there's some swerve or I don't know. We just got to wait for Royal Rumble. So that was an interesting twist to that match and everything. But it was a pretty fun show. Again, one of the nitpicks, Madcap Moss and Baron Corbin, those jokes are not, they're not good. It's not funny. The Charlotte, I wouldn't say Charlotte, the Naomi, Sonya Deville storyline, it's overstayed as welcome, and there is such a racial overtone to this story that it's not entertaining. You just want it to go away. It's like, it's like you could see it like, man, this is just like, no, this isn't like putting what we want as fans. And if you're watching this, you probably can relate. What we want as fans is we want Sonya Deville to go back to being a badass wrestler that she was, and we want Naomi to move on and be just as a badass as what she was before. We want them to move on to do better things than be in this storyline. So yeah, other than that, nice show. Both shows, AEW and AEW Rampage and Smackdown, really fun shows. Definitely setting up and building for their respective big events, or the next show and everything. AEW did a really good job of setting up for the next Dynamite and Rampage. SmackDown did a very good job of setting up for the Royal Rumble. Actually, SmackDown and the Royal Rumble. So it's a fun time to be a wrestling fan. I look forward to the next 2 weeks. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, and it's good because the way this month started off, just the first 3 days, whew, man, oh man. But it is what it is. It's professional wrestling. There's always changes and there's always twists and turns. But so that is my review for AEW Rampage and WWE SmackDown for January 21st. Like, share, comment, subscribe, follow House of Wrestling on all social media platforms. Follow me, Dedrian Colon, on TikTok at Dedrian180. That's Dedrian 180. Thank you guys for all the love, support, comments, follows, shares, and everything. Again, before I leave, I do want to recommend you have to watch the Moxley match. You got to watch the Hook match, and you got to watch the Usos versus Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins match. Those are pretty dope. So that is it for my review. I'm Dedrian Colon. I'll see you next time.